Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's get into Real Housewives of Miami. This is season 5, episode 8. And it was a filler episode, but it was a good filler episode. So let's get into it, y'all. So I'm going to try my best with this one. I didn't take any notes. I didn't take any notes. So it's coming all off the top of the dome. So if I forget something, like the old people say, charge it to my head and not my heart, But yeah, I'm excited to do this one because I got to be in Twitter Spaces yesterday and it was a fun time, and it was a Miami Twitter Spaces, and the conversations that were going on in there about about this episode were really good, and I enjoyed it. And I was just excited because I haven't been able to be a part of Twitter Spaces because of life. Things be happening and you just don't really have time, or you just don't want to be a part of things because you're just not in the mood or in the right headspace. So I really didn't take notes. I just watched the episode so I could be caught up, so I could be a part of Spaces. So like I said, I'm going off the top of my dome. So let's get into it. All right, so the episode opens up and we see Adriana and her stylist walking up. So this is the outfit Adriana is going to wear to the event. It was like some lime green. At first I thought it was a caftan, but I don't think it was, because I think it was like a swimsuit that just had like a lot of that's not what you call ruching. I forgot the name of it. But it was just like very openy, like a caftan, but it wasn't a caftan because it wasn't like a solid dress. It had like slits in it and stuff. So she gets up there. I thought it looked really nice on her. We meet her director friend. Y'all, I don't think that man is a real director. If I'm gonna be all the way 100 with y'all, I feel like that was one of Adriana's little friends, and she called him up and was like, look, I need to film a scene. Pull up. You gonna be my director. Because he was he was doing too much to me. Like, yeah, the girls weren't paying attention to him, and it got slick disrespectful after a while. But then again, I'm like, they're doing this for free. They're filming a reality show. They want to catch up. None of them really want to be a part of this, because all of a sudden Adriana has music, but her last song that she released, I think people were saying allegedly that was like 10 years ago. So it's like, how serious is Adriana about this music? Like, we're just coming here to like support her, film, get drunk, and have a good time. He was too eager to like interact with the ladies, and him constantly yelling at them and be like, are they serious? Are they serious? I'm like, he didn't command any presence. Like, I feel like if you're a director of any source, like if you're directing music or a play or anything like that, normally those people have like a certain type of presence where they mean business when they're speaking. And I feel like these women probably looked that man up and couldn't find none of his credits and was like, oh, this one of her little friends, we're not even about to do this with you, sir, because it gave very much that. So he's asking Adriana like, hey, like, do they know the choreography and all that stuff? And she's like, no, but I hope they do. I'm a single mom, I can't just suck what, like she did the hand gesture for like sucking penis, and then was like, I can't do that. And I'm looking at Adriana like, you're a bitter hater. You are a bitter hater. Like, hateration oozes out of you, ma'am, because I watched seasons 1 through 3 before season 4 because I wanted to be caught up, and I was excited because I saw people that were on the first season. So I was like, ooh, like, let me watch so I can get like, get a taste of people's personalities before I see the season 4. And Adriana was the good time girl season 1. Like, her and Larsa used to bump heads because Larsa was like on her moral high horse and talking about how, she was married to Scotty. She didn't want to be in these types of places. Like when they were at the club, she was like, she feels like she's disrespecting him and her. Now the roles have reversed because now Larsa's a good time girl. But Adriana was the good time girl and was excited that all the men loved her and liked to be around her when she was a lot younger. Then we go to seasons 2 and 3, and when she was talking about getting to, like, I think, what's his name, like Philippe or something. I think he was a French man. I feel like he was a French man. She was so ecstatic to be with that man because he was a man of means and of wealth. She was even going to uproot her child to live on some raggedy, rusty boat for the rest of their life because that man wanted to travel around the world in that raggedy boat. But she was going to do it because he was wealthy. So my thing about Adriana is like, you be taking slick jabs at these women. Like last episode when Alexia got that, what's it called? The whole bracelet watch thing from Todd. And I'm like, he's her husband. He should be giving gifts. Like, that is your duty, bro. Like, just let you, if you marry me, I expect it. Cause the gift of me being around you, my presence is a gift. You know what I mean? So I'm like, girl, you're a hater because I guarantee y'all, if it's a man, like if a man rolls up on Adriana with wealth and he tells her, I need you to do this, and this, and I need you to rework your personality, she running because Adriana does not like taking care of herself. You're constantly talking about, I'm a single mother, I'm a single this, I'm a single that, and it's like, okay. And we've had representations of housewives who have been single mothers who don't really talk about being a single mother. They just do it. Like, they'll have moments where they're like, no, I really want this to work because I want my daughter or my son to see that mommy can do this on her own. She doesn't need, like, you don't need a man, especially if it's like a daughter. But like, you, whatever you put your mind to, you can accomplish it. That is what we normally get from them. Adriana is always using it as like a one up against the ladies when it's not really that, because sis, you want to be them. You was talking so much trash about Larsa and her body, but now I see you getting booty shots on the next episode. Because you trying to make yourself more viable for men. And here's the thing. I don't think Adriana is an unattractive woman. I think she is very attractive, especially like for her age and like for her to be so full of life. Like on at this episode when they were at Julia's glam party or whatever, housewarming party, sis was looking good. That yellow on her skin, and she was having it. I said, come on, lady. She looks good. I think the issue is Adriana does not attract the men that she wants. Because she can get men. I think Adriana wants a man of means and of a certain status, and the men that are coming at her are not them, and it bothers her. It bothers her. It bothers her that she's not like Alexia with a man, or Marisol with a man, or even Larsa, who be getting men that are a certain like wealth status. Like, I think that bothers her. So all this like, I don't have to, girl, you would. You would. Let's stop acting like you wouldn't. You would. So everybody show up. None of them know the dance steps except Kiki. And they just there with the vibes. And my thing was like, this, like, shouts out to Mia, this was low budget. This was a low budget music video. Like, the fact that the boat stayed docked the whole time, and then you could tell that Adriana was giving the bare minimum, because there was no crafts table. There was no alcohol. There was no deckhand to help the ladies on the boat. Marisol almost broke her hip trying to get on the boat. And mind you, I'm nowhere near the age of Marisol, but even when I'm getting on boats, like, there's normally a guy or even a lady there standing there to like help you get on the boat, because the boat is still kind of like, because water's still moving, like the water is still going. So it's like nobody was there, and it wasn't like to get on the yacht, because the yacht was nice that they had a railing. Like, it would have been different if there was a rail to help them up, but there was no railing. So I was just kind of like, oh, you didn't pay for this for that long. And then when you see the music video, they just got these two like people there, because it gave very much call your friends. Like, he called them dancers, but they were dancing worse than the ladies, in my opinion. So I'm just like, what is this? What is this? What is this? So everybody comes. You find out Larsa was like, I'm not about to be a part of this. You're not about to have me in no mess. Lisa comes, but Lisa's like, she got to leave to go to Logan's, like, had a recital. I don't think she was telling the truth, but I was just like, girl, I wouldn't want to be a part of this either. Because things on the internet stay forever. So I don't want, like, no man Pam. I would not want that on the internet. So Larsa had that idea. Even Gertie was ready to get out the shot. They were trying to do the dance moves, and then the director guy was like, Gertie's head was blocking Adriana when they were doing the frame. And Gertie, like, when I tell you Gertie moved with the quickness, it was like, oh, I don't have to be in it. I want your video to be perfect. I was like, yeah, Gertie, that's something I would do. And be like, no, I'm good. So while some people are dancing, we have a few of the ladies in the back. Larsa confronts Julia Larsa, I like how Larsa and Nicole are growing on me. Last season they pretty much got on my nerves, but this season both of those ladies are growing on me. When Larsa asked Julia, she was like, you want to hear a crazy story? Julia's like, yeah. She's like, one of my friends said they saw you like a week ago kissing a guy at the Four Seasons Surf Club. Isn't that crazy? I said, Larsa, you ho. You horrible. You are horrible. Get messy, huh? She was like, and then Julia was stuck because Julia was like, me kissing a guy? I said, oh yeah, girl, you got caught. You got caught. You did not play that off. You did not play that off. So Julia ends up saying like, oh, like, yeah, but we were like playing around. It was like my friend. And then Larson's like, oh, it's a designer, isn't it? My friend sent me pictures. So then Julia really had to like come up with a lie, but her lie didn't make sense because then she said that like they were kissing for the paparazzi. And I was like, Julia, you're not that famous for anyone to really know who you are. But like Martina, yes, because it's Martina. But Julia, you're not that famous for you to be kissing somebody at the Four Seasons. And then Larsa was like, there's no paparazzis at the Four Seasons. It's just not. It's like a low-key place. The paparazzi don't be there. And when I was in Spaces, the host of Spaces was like, we know Larsa would know because Larsa probably be messing with people who don't want to be seen with her. Screamed. And then there was another person in the Spaces who was like, no, I like Larsa. I thought she was talking about the Kardashians. And I was like, two truths can coexist. Larsa gives that like she would be out in the streets with other people's husbands because we've seen it. We've seen it on the blogs. We've seen her do it. She over here dating someone's old work colleague's friend, like son. Like you're dating Michael Jordan's son. And that used to be Scotty's teammate, which too much. You're crossing the line right there, in my opinion. And then she was out with the Kardashians, and we know the Kardashians call the paparazzi. We know they do. So it's like two truths can coexist. So Larsa would know. So Larsa's like, girl, that don't make sense. But then they dead the conversation because the director asks them to like come back so they can all do the dance and stuff. So while that's going on, and we see some people leave. I would have been Marisol, like because everyone was supposed to show up in black. I guess they have all the focus on Adriana, but like Marisol showed up in white in a captain's hat, and she's like, "I'm the bartender," and brung a bag full of booze. And I said that would have been me. I'd have been like, I didn't practice. I'm not learning these steps, but I'm gonna be in the back. If y'all need a little libation, shout out to Anthony, a little libation to get you going. Oh, Leah's in the back pouring. I got you. I'ma just, be in the back, vibing. But they were being rude. Like they were not paying attention. They was not following directions. Especially when Marisol came up and was like handing the girls drinks, dancing in their back. And I said, that could have been cute. That could have been cute if they would have worked the music video like that. I did not understand why they were taking the music video so serious. Because I'm like, Adriana, you're not a pop sensation. Like, this should just be a cute little music video that you're doing with your friends. Kind of on the same aesthetic as Luann does with her songs. Money can't buy your class. Like, and they was just in there dancing. Girl, you should have had your friends doing that. Y'all are of a certain age. Most of the women told you, girl, I can't two-step. Which would have been like really cute would have been y'all on the boat. Y'all would have undocked the boat and been in the middle of the ocean area, the harbor area, and everyone just, dancing, them doing aerial shots of y'all dancing and turning up with the guys, drinking, laughing, and like singing the words to the song with Adriana, and then going back. Like, the director was trying to take this too seriously, and so was Adriana, when it's like, you haven't put out a song in like 10 years, ma'am. Let it go. Like, just have fun with your friends. So while that's going, we have a confrontation that happens between Gertie and Alexia. So let's talk about Gertie and Alexia get into it, because Gertie came on that boat with the mission to ignore Alexia. She's like, you don't know how to talk to people, so I'm not about to play these games with you. Alexia was kind of like taken aback because I guess she was wanted to talk to Gertie, because we see a scene where you see Alexia, Kiki, what's her name? Larsa and Gertie sitting down and they're reading a headline where it says that Lenny is denying, or it's on page 6, that he's denying that him and Lisa are getting a divorce and they're trying to work it out. And they're like, why is he denying it? Because Miami is so small, like everyone knows about it. And like Alexia was trying to like have a conversation with Gertie about it, but Gertie was really like actively ignoring her. And I have no problems with that. Y'all know Gertie get on my nerves, but I have no problems with her doing this. So next thing you know, Alexia's like, Gertie, you're really ignoring me? And Gertie's like, yeah. So then they start going back and forth. And when the conversation started off, I was pretty much neutral because I saw both sides. I saw Alexia feeling abandoned by her friend, that she felt like, my mom just died. You were supposed to be there for me. Like, I don't know if I could give you a date for when we were going to do the wedding. I was just going through grief. Like, everything was just cloudy. But I can also see Gertie being like, well, sis, I have a business. I have to take care of my family. You didn't give me a date, so I had to do other stuff. And someone brought up a good theory when it came to Alexia in Spaces, about how Alexia seems to be more upset about not being like a part of Gertie's like elite clientele. And what the person was saying in Spaces, and I'm not going to say names because I don't know if people want to be featured in a video, or if they, or want people to look them up and stuff like that. But I do want to give credit, so that's why I'm saying Spaces people. But the person in Spaces was talking about how they looked up Gertie's like, resume, and Gertie is that girl. Okay, Gertie is that girl. Like, when they mentioned in the episode about Gertie doing weddings or events in like Spain, Italy, Portugal, well, that's Spain, girl, Mexico, and around the world, and like Dubai and stuff like that, she really does that. The person in Spaces was explaining how they looked up at her resume, and like Gertie even has like a contract where she is a part of this like villa in Italy where like she exclusively does events there. Like, she's like a part of the leasing for it and everything. So she is that girl. Like, when Gertie say I'm a Gertie-fied girl, she mean what she say. She mean what she say. And the person in Spaces was saying how they really think Alexia is upset that like she did the bare minimum, thinking Gertie was going to like just be okay with it. And then when I say bare minimum, like all Gertie asked you was for a date, and you couldn't even give her that. And even when Gertie gave you that questionnaire, I wouldn't want to fill out that questionnaire, but you didn't even follow that rule. But you couldn't even meet Gertie halfway. And I think the person was saying that Alexia, to them, they feel like Alexia is upset that she wasn't a part of, like, her wedding wasn't featured in Vogue. Because when they showed the pictures of Gertie's events, they look beautiful. They look gorgeous. Like, I would love to go to one of her events just to feel the like atmosphere, because it seems like she creates an atmosphere. Like, one of my favorite shows used to be David Tatira on WeTV, because I just loved watching him create these beautiful events and how excited people were. Like, I that's some things I like to look at. So they were saying that it seems just like Alexia is doesn't know how to formulate how she's upset with herself, and kind of taking it out on Gertie that she wasn't featured in Vogue because she keeps bringing up Vogue. And I was like, I can get with that. I can get with that. I feel like Alexia realized she missed her chance, because that person in Spaces also said that Gertie's like client list are from people like that live in like Silicon Valley. And like Gertie said in this episode, she don't do local weddings. Like, if she does a wedding in Miami, it's because someone is flying out of like into Miami from out of town. So it's like she really was doing Alexia a favor. And so like I saw both sides, and it wasn't until the Supreme Karen came out of Alexia when she started crying. And I get it. My grandmother just passed away a couple of months, and like sometimes it just wells up in you. And like you just like you hear something or you think about a happy moment and tears. Like it just like just be tears. And I was like, when Alexia was like, my mom died, and like I felt her, but then I was like, that's not what we're talking about. And at first I was gonna give it to her, but then she brought up Frankie's accident, and I was like, ma'am, Frankie's accident happened almost like 10 or 12 years ago. Not saying that like to dismiss that, but that's not what we're arguing about. So you can't sit here and try to like do that with me. We're not gonna do that, Alexia. And that's what she was doing. So then Gertie was like, girl, I could get just as I could cry too and bring up my trauma. So Gertie starts crying about her brother. Then once Alexia peeped that like she wasn't getting to Gertie with the crying, all of a sudden the tears shut off and she's like, Gertie, you're so dismissive. You're a liar. You know, when you was making faces on the bus, it was like the exorcist. So then Gertie being, and this, like I tell y'all, Gertie annoys me with her antics because her facial expressions remind me of Kiki Wyatt, and Kiki Wyatt annoys me very hard. She annoys me very hard. Beautiful voice at times, but she annoys me. Like she just does. And when Kiki was on R&B Divas, I liked her in the beginning, but all them faces, it started to agitate me. And that's what it is with Gertie. But I was proud of Gertie in that moment when she was very direct with Alexia, saying, I don't like the way you speak to me. I feel like you dismiss me, and I feel like you were trying to take advantage of my services. And I love that because I said, be direct. Okay, don't be putting out them metaphors like they trying to act like they don't understand you. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And she did. She really did. And then they kind of had a moment because Alexia somewhat apologized, but she was like, Gertie, I like you. Like, I admire the things that you do. I like you. And Gertie's like, but I don't feel that from you. I want you to love me. And that's when I was like, girl, don't say that to nobody. Don't say that to nobody. And I mean nobody. But I get it. She wants to be a part of the group. She wants to be friendly. And then they just end up hugging. I was with Nicole when Nicole walked in and was like, what the hell is going on? Like Nicole was like, I don't understand. When I tell you, like Nicole is growing on me as well as Larsa. When she was like, I don't understand what's going on. I cackled. So, like, they were able to hug, and hopefully they moved past it. Like, and I feel like, I do feel like they were able to move past it too quickly, but I also feel like the women on Miami don't hold on to grudges, so I don't feel like they wanted to hold on to what was going on. They just wanted to, like, hug and move on, which at times makes good TV. Because it's like, we're not harping on one thing. That's the downfall I feel of that is with Beverly Hills. They have one situation and then it turns into something. You got Puppygate, Pantygate, all this stuff. It's like, it was just one moment in 6 months. Find something else to talk about. So then everybody piles into like the sitting area on the yacht, and you have Larsa kicking up the dirt again, asking Julia, like, Julia, explain to me, like, you know, like, is it okay for you to do that? Like, I'm trying to date. I just want to know what's up. So her and Larsa sit down, and we find out that Julia did kiss the guy. Julia comes up with the same thing about like the paparazzi, when I'm just like, that doesn't make sense. And that she was like, there's making out and then there's making out. And I'm like, either way, ma'am, you are in like, you're married. Unless you and your wife have an open marriage and we don't know about it, okay. But it don't seem that way to me. What it seems like is you got caught up kissing a man that you had no business kissing. Because either way, you cheated. That's what I see with you, Julia. You was cheating and you got caught. Because the other girl, Larsa's friend, was able to take a picture of you. And I'm like, paparazzi, girl, who is Julia? Like, we know who Martina is, but who is Julia? We don't know who you are, ma'am. We don't know who you are. And my thing is, like, Martina hasn't been in the news like that in a long time for people to be like, oh, Martina's wife's out here kissing another man. What it seems to me is like there's trouble in paradise when it comes to Martina and Julia, and we'll talk about that more when we get to their segment. And you was out here doing something you ain't had no business doing, in my opinion. So you got Kiki tag teaming because it seems like Kiki and Larsa have a good relationship. So Kiki asking questions like, girl, you a married woman, what you kissing? Like, ask, just, you know. And it seems like the conversation was just everyone was just asking questions, trying to understand, because Julia somewhat played it cool because she didn't get really like mad. But then in her confessional, she's like, it seems premeditated from Larsa. Nah, girl, you got caught up. But it wasn't premeditated by Larsa. So Adriana comes in, and then Adriana's like, Julia, you don't have to keep answering these questions. Shut up, Kiki. You weren't even there. And because she brings up how Julia kissed, what's her name? Kissed Lisa. And I'm like, that's not the same thing, because y'all were playing a game. Y'all were playing, and like, I've played games where I've kissed women because it was like the game we were playing. But like, I don't have an attraction to women. That's different. Julia is a bisexual woman that married a lesbian. If I was a lesbian and I found out that my wife, who got attraction to men, was kissing, I'ma think you want him. That's different. That's totally different. That's like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I was just like, girl, I was like, those are not the same thing, Adriana. It was a game. And like Kiki said, it was a game. So then Adriana's like, Kiki, shut up. You weren't even effing there. So then Kiki gets mad. Now, Kiki was doing a lot, but I don't like Adriana, so I ain't minded. And she told Adriana to F off. She was like, I was the only one there for you when at rehearsal, which is true because she was the only one supporting Adriana. So it didn't make sense why Adriana came at her so hard. And then Kiki ends up eating a hamburger, and I didn't get it, but then I had to roll it back. So I guess because she's a model, when, like, I guess she would get bloated, and she was like, I don't like to see myself like that, I guess, on film. So she ate a burger. So you know they didn't feed them, because why is she eating a Burger King? Why is she eating Burger King? So then Kiki gets off the boat, because that's how I realized the boat was docked. And she then tells the director, I don't want my likeness in this video. Like, F her. If I see my likeness in this video, I'm going to sue. Like, I don't want it. And I was like, I'm not mad at you. You doing a lot, but I don't like Adriana, so I'm okay with this. But you are kind of doing a lot. And so Kiki left. We got to understand, Kiki trying to get that mojito. She trying to be in this show, so I get it. So she left, and that's where the scene ends. We then see a few scenes. We see Lisa talking to her daughter, Ella, and she tells us that they haven't told the kids yet that they're getting a divorce because they don't, like, she was like, they're young, and she doesn't want to tell them it unless it's really happening. And I agree with that. Like, Lisa don't even know what's going on. You got Lenny in the press saying that him and Lisa aren't getting a divorce. They're trying to work it out. So she really does not know what's going on. So, excuse me. My bad, y'all. So, like, I understand her being like, I don't want to tell my kids, giving them unnecessary stress and anxiety, and I don't know what's going on. But what I will say is, Lisa out here got a new man. I think his name is like Jody Gilding or Glendon. He a tech entrepreneur, and it looked like he made big bucks, as well as he a young man, younger than Lenny. I said, okay, Lisa. Although I feel like she need to slow down, but then again, I got to remember, like, all of this happened like almost a year ago. So maybe she's already, at a point where she's trying to move on. In Spaces, someone did ask a question where they were like, do you think Lisa will get back with Lenny now? And I was one of the people that was like, yeah. I was like, I feel like she would get back with Lenny, because he has like, if Lenny wanted to get back together, I was like, I feel like Lisa would, if the price was right. Like, if he was like buying a new house, constantly lavishing her with gifts and stuff like that. But then the two co-hosts had different opinions, where one, he calls Lisa his girl. He was like, I think we're selling Lisa too short, or y'all are selling Lisa too short. I think with the public embarrassment, Lisa would not do it. And I was like, yeah, I thought about it. I said, yeah, no, I wouldn't. Because you embarrass me, get away from me. You embarrass me, get away from me. And then the other host was like, well, during the show, if he asked to get back with her while the show was going on, I think so, because her emotions were so up and down. But now, probably not. And now that I have time to process it, I agree with both the co-hosts of the Spaces, where, yeah, I don't think Lisa would get back together with Lenny now that, because she's even in page 6 going at his neck. Like I told y'all, it's so many articles on page 6 of Lisa and Lenny going back and forth, and Lisa not holding back. So I don't think now she would. Now that I'm thinking about it. But if the show was going, as the show is continuing, I think she would. I definitely think she would, because they're so up and down. But what I saw for next week's episode, I said, yeah, she better not go back to that man, and she better take him for everything he got. When that man said F you on the phone, y'all, when I tell you, and I mean this with all of me, I would have cussed that man out so hard, and my mouth would have got so disrespectful that they would have had to cut to commercial, or just had the beep sign. And then if he had his location on, I'm pulling up to your spot so I can cuss you out even further. Like, I was just like, ooh, no, she not getting back with him. No. I said in that moment, I said, break him, Lisa. I said, you better take that man for everything he got and smear his reputation because he got the wrong one. Okay? He got the wrong one. I said, oh, disrespectful. Man looking like a beluga whale. Oh, I said, that's wrong. That was wrong. That was so wrong. And you know what? Let me not disrespect beluga whales because they're actually really cute. They are actually really cute with the little hump and stuff. That's too cute of an animal for Lenny. He's just a pasty demon. He a pasty demon and he dumpster juice for the way he is doing that lady and them children. Because you can clearly tell he does not care about them kids. And I'm glad Lisa did not have a third baby with him because he was trying to get her to have a third child. And I said, do you know how sick she would have been if she had a third baby with that man and he did her like this? So good for Lisa. We then see a scene with Gertie and Russell. I like them together. I think it's crazy they've been together for 27 years. Because most people I see that have been together that long, they're like very old and stuff like that. But I think it's cute. I just want Gertie to like acknowledge her husband. Because in that scene, it seemed like Russell was trying to get Gertie's attention, but she was so engrossed in her phone that she really wasn't paying attention to him. And I'm like, I don't want her to like give up on her ambitions or dreams. Like I said, like I think what Gertie does is amazing, but I feel like that whole thing that she said about the shaman saying that the bird tapping on her window, like she said that was my brother telling me to work harder. I don't think that was that. I really think it was probably that bird was your brother telling you like, girl, enjoy the fruits of your labor, enjoy your husband, because it seems like Russell is a stay-at-home dad while Gertie flies around the world, which is fine. I don't have no problem with that. I don't have no problem with that. But yeah, I just hope they get it together. I hope they get it together. But I hope they stay together and love wins for them. All right. So the next scene we have is of Julia's glam party or farm to glam party. And everyone pulls up except Kiki because we find out that Julia disinvited Kiki because one, she wants somebody around her house that can control their anger issues around her wife and her daughters. Two, she already has birds that are loud, and again, she doesn't need another, like she doesn't need that in her house, and she just wants someone with good energy. And I said, Julia, you're full of it because you're still inviting Alexia, who called you a prostitute. She said you would be a good prostitute because you are Russian. That is the ultimate. That's disrespectful. Then you got Larsa coming, and Larsa like blasted you about you making out with a man. So what kind of energy are you not inviting? I would have respected Julia more if she would have just said, me and Adriana have the same brain, and I don't like how she disrespected my friend at her event, so I don't want her here. But to say that lady got anger issues and compare her to a bird, it has the same undertones that Alexia had, referencing Russian people or Russian women being good at prostituting. So I said you need to walk that back just like Alexia needed to walk it back. Oh, disrespectful heifer. So, and Kiki be getting on my nerves at times. She a fun time, but like Kiki sometimes be annoying. But like that, I felt like that was disrespectful. I felt like that was mad disrespectful. So Gertie pulls up to the party. It's a half pour, which I was with Gertie when Gertie was making like, girl, a half a pour. My thing, I said I ain't never been to a party with a half a pour. We fill the cups all the way up. All the way up. And if you ain't got enough alcohol, girl, tell your friends to bring their own so they can fill their drinks all the way up. All the way up. So everyone gets there. Like I said, Kiki isn't there. Everyone looked really nice. I thought it was funny that Alexia and Marisol were the only ones in green, but they look cute. All the other ladies were wearing like yellow, and everyone looked really nice. So we see Elvis is there, and I hate that she be bringing that goat everywhere. I just do. There's a confrontation between Larsa and, let me talk about the whole Elvis thing. I hate that Julia brings Elvis everywhere because you can clearly tell that Elvis does not want to be around all of this. Like he headbutted some dog at Lars's dog's birthday party, and now you have him in the house and you have this halter on him and you're constantly pulling and you see him pulling back. And I'm like, stop, he doesn't want to be there. The fact that you need to keep a diaper on him because goats poop without discretion. They poop everywhere. They poop and pee everywhere. And they don't care where they do poop and pee. I'm just like, take him to that farm that's an hour and 30 minutes away and let him be free. I don't like that. Something about Julia rubs me the wrong way. And it might be because I've been around animal people like Julia, where it's like a lot of people get blinded by like, oh my God, they're an animal lover. They love the animals. But all the while, they try to discredit veterinarians. They do under the table things where they like try to do veterinarian work, and it ends up exacerbating the situation with the animal. They speak ill of veterinarians, as well as they don't really care about animals. They just use animals as a prop to their personality, and you can tell. And with Julia, I'm like, if you're supposed to be such an animal lover, why are you parading this goat around that you can tell that Elvis does not want to be there? And I'm like, I hope Elvis doesn't live there, because y'all don't really even have a backyard for Elvis. Just like I didn't like that Miss Goat in Dubai was staying at in Lisa's backyard, and they didn't have room for Miss Goat. Like, they're goats. Goats like to roam. Goats like to run and jump and be free. And I'm just kind of like, if you have the means, you have a farm, leave him at the farm. It'd be cute if you have a little party at the farm and invite the ladies and you see Elvis pull up. And I'm like, okay, cool. Elvis is there. Like, kick it. Like, but to have Elvis in your house and clearly he doesn't want to be there, that makes me look at you like, girl, you're using this animal as a prop and you shouldn't, because it's a living thing that doesn't want to be there. And then Elvis' diaper falls and you quickly see Martina be like, get it. And I'm with Martina, because I bet you Martina didn't even want that animal in her house. But so we then have Larsa show up. They do the whole confronting thing with Martina. Martina is smooth because Martina is an athlete that has probably been in millions of interviews, and she knows how to transition and pivot the conversation. And that's basically what happened. She puts it on her where she says that she doesn't really care that Julia was kissing a man, which I don't believe that. I feel like when Julia got like confronted on the boat, that she ran back home and told Martina what was up. Because then Martina's like, yeah, if she was kissing a woman, I would have an issue. But then she brings up about how Julia was upset about Martina kissing Gwyneth Paltrow. And in Spaces, I found out that Martina was a part of this movie called The Politician, where Gwyneth Paltrow was cheating on her husband with Martina, who is Martina's character, who is supposed to be like her riding coach and stuff like that. And they said they had a lot of like steamy like sex scenes and stuff like that. So I was like, I could get why Julia would be upset. But then they all laugh it off. I giggled when Marisol was trying to figure out who Martina like made out with, what male tennis player. Because Martina then says, well, I made out with a guy, like in the 80s, like one of an athlete. So then everybody was curious to figure it out. So Martina pivoted the conversation. We also want to send like healing energy to Martina, because unfortunately, it was like released that Martina has been diagnosed with throat and breast cancer, but they caught it early, so maybe she'll have we're hoping she has a speedy recovery. But she's already she had cancer before, so now it came back. So I'm hoping, that they're able to get it in time, because early detection normally saves a lot of people's lives. So I hope that happens for her. But yeah, healing energy to them. So then the episode just ends out with Martina and Julia in the water swimming together. Nicole and Adriana convincing her to get in the water because Martina said she was going to get in the ocean. And they swim together. Honestly, y'all, I feel like it's trouble in paradise when it comes to Martina and Julia. It's always weird to me how these couples can get on TV and their first seasons, we're great, we're better, we're wonderful, it's butterflies and rainbows. And then the second season, we're getting a divorce, or we're separating, or it's trouble in paradise. And I feel like Martina is getting ready to like peace out on Julia. I don't know now with the whole like cancer situation, but like when Martina told Julia and went in their super trailer, I'm sick of yo, you know what? I said, ooh. And Martina has been looking at Julia like like Lenny was looking at Lisa. As well as, I think what really rubbed or kind of hurt Martina is when Julia said she didn't feel rooted now that her girls were gone. And Martina was like, but I'm here. And she was like, and Julia basically said that wasn't enough. I think Martina is ready to spread her wings and fly away. So I hope Julia got a backup plan. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be really authentic and hop down in them comments below. Deuces.